Hey guys, welcome to the RoundTable. Here at the RoundTable, we continue the conversations that we have had from Sunday morning and how you can have practical ways to help every person take their next steps towards Jesus together.
All right, hey, welcome everybody to the RoundTable, and I've just informed there's no more episodes or no more numbers.
No, there's episodes.
Huh?
There's episodes.
Okay, well, I asked you what episode number we were on.
I know, but that's the thing. Well, technically, we would be on 16, I believe, right?
35.
So 35
Okay,
with
so
all
now
of
there's
them
like-
together.
yeah.
I think 35.
So now once you get into these routines, you're
I
going to get me
know.
all messed up. I'm a routine kind of guy.
Well,
so now
you're gonna
the
have to
new
learn a
routine,
new one.
35.
Yep, 35.
No new seasons, but this is the 35th podcast we've done?
Yes. Yep.
Wow, that's
I know. So we did
35.
18 and the last time over a short, 4 months? And then the last time was over 8 months, I think. We did 12.
Either way, we're stepping up in the world.
Yes.
Huh? So we're
That's
on
the point of my
episode
story.
So episode number
35.
35. Okay. So again, just to give everybody a perspective of what the RoundTable is. So the RoundTable is an opportunity for us to get together and get to meet our great, incredible guests. Jenny has added that to our 2021 and 22 schedule.
so
where
weird.
we're always going to have guests and even returning guests.
Yeah.
Maybe one of our most famous.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I
'Cause
mean,
how
in the
many-
farming
this
world.
Third time?
Third for Nick.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's almost kind of iconic.
Movie star.
Because of the farming world?
Well, you
don't
couldn't
know.
find anybody last time.
No,
They should have your own Facebook group. You know what I mean? Instead of Facebook, it'd be farmers, whatever.
Well,
I'm pretty
he's
sure
gonna-
they have a farmers app
No,
for
listen,
dating.
he's going to talk about this.
Farmers only.
Yes, farmers only.
No, that's real.
Yes.
Yeah, I was on it. That's
You
real.
were?
Yeah.
Did you?
No, he wasn't.
Long time
was
ago,
not.
You were not.
16
You were-
years ago.
Really?
Farmers only.
I was at a weird time in my life. It was
No, I'm seriously,
really,
it
I
was
did.
15 years ago. There was.
It was a
Farmers
website,
Only.
right? Ben?
farmersonly.com. Yeah, there would have been like an app or
Yeah.
nothing at
I
that
thought
point.
that was too old. I thought you
Yeah,
were
I
too
didn't
old
think
for that.
Yeah, seriously.
I would have been like 21.
No, I know you. I'm saying, I thought that was too long ago. For
That's
that
what I
podcast.
thought.
No,
I
there
didn't
was
think they
internet
had it.
15 years ago, Chad.
Yes, there was.
Was there really?
Yes.
I don't remember any of those.
Are we
things.
recording?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes, we're recording.
We've been here for 2 hours.
No, listen. Here's going to be the thing. Is famous because here's the
Yes.
other thing.
Why?
Dreams that he was talking about 2022. He's going to be putting out a podcast.
Are you?
No, I have to.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
See, this is what I do to
accountability.
people. This is what I do to people. When they talk to
Challenge
me
them.
about their dreams, I'm going to
Yeah.
announce it to everybody.
Don't
so
tell
they
me
have to
because
do
I'll
it.
hold you accountable.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, not
his
just-
dreams are going to be coming out.
Not just him, but everybody that's watching is
Yeah,
going to hold you
everybody that's
accountable.
watching is going to be looking for a
Yep.
podcast. I think it's going to be named something like
Farmers only.
no,
Spread it.
spread it.
Spread it.
Well, because again, you see what we're representing, right?
Sounds terrible.
Huh? No, listen. Cop keep manure. Man.
Oh,
Does mine
okay.
say that on
It
it?
does.
Oh, spread
Yeah,
manure?
yeah, we're in the
Spread
same
manure
thing. Okay.
and spread the message of Jesus.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
And maybe at
see?
the same time.
Maybe. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
And see, here's the deal. He's famous because in the farmer world, who a lot of people don't listen to podcasts, we're like, Nick Hopkins, you know what they said afterwards? You know what people came and told me?
What?
You should have Nick preach sometime.
Really?
Yeah. So I said something to him, and that's what he did.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm worship leader at church on Sunday,
Are you really?
and all
like,
week.
do you play guitar? And everything?
No, like worship leader at our church would be like, good to see you here. Welcome. Opening prayer.
Oh.
We'll do like an offering statement, start the song.
What's an offering statement?
It's called an offertory statement. I don't ever do it and they get mad at me. So it's
Well, I thought
like
you said offerings.
I know.
offering statement, offertory statement.
But
Okay.
offering.
Yeah, for
Like
the
for people
offering.
to give money.
Yeah,
like,
so
What do you tell 'em? Like,
well,
we need
well,
money?
Yeah, no. Generally, they want you to give like some sort of tithing testimony. Like what since you've started tithing, what has that done in your life? How has that changed? But I never say anything. Like I usually have a lot of other things to say. But so it's what's today, Tuesday, and I haven't written anything down because I don't like to phone it in.
Okay.
Like I want to do a good job on Sunday,
Right.
but sometimes on Saturday night I don't have anything wrote down. So then I just get up there and phone it in and be like, Lord bless the service, Holy Spirit show up. Here's the preacher. But hopefully, we were talking earlier, like how things just hit you.
Yeah.
Like I'm
You're just waiting for the
like,
hit you
I've
moment.
got the notes queued up on the phone. Like
Yeah.
hopefully sometime this week, it's like I wasn't at church on Sunday, so I'll listen to Kelly's message.
How dare you?
And I'll hopefully I can get something after I listen to that. Maybe there's something I'll want to talk about from that. Or
So it's like stories, kind of.
a lot of they ask
Passing
people
the
to do it, and sometimes it blooms into like a half a sermon.
Okay.
Wow.
Really?
It
Like
just-
somebody stands up and starts talking?
Yeah, for like 10 or 15
With the
minutes.
mic.
Chad, you don't go to the
Absolutely.
same church as him? Oh, I thought you guys went to the same church.
No, I mean, it's only a mile around the corner.
Maybe, Chad will get into that during. Yeah,
Just
What?
a mile.
yeah we'll get there, I guess.
Just
I
a
don't
mile
think
around
I'd
the
stand
corner.
up and talk at your church.
Just a.
Maybe we should clarify we're not a couple.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah, that's
We're not a couple.
Oh, I thought you were.
No. What gave you that idea?
I don't know. A lot
because we
of
walked
things.
in hand.
Is that what it is? We're not a couple. We don't go to church here, and Mike didn't go to preacher school.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 3 facts.
3 of the fascinating facts
Yeah.
that you need to know.
The more you know with the
Just
round.
And he's
so
got
you know,
coal in
that
his
doesn't-
truck.
That doesn't bother me. Like, everybody knows I didn't go to.
Yeah, he tells on himself.
Well, just in case people didn't know, Mike. Just in case.
Does that keep you from?
Maybe
I think-
that's why you're such a good
I
pastor.
think that's why probably a lot of people come
Seriously.
see
Hey,
because you didn't go to.
Holly said that over the weekend.
What?
He's like, maybe that's why Mike's so good. He didn't go to seminary.
Yeah, I didn't get indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's
Yeah.
Like, I didn't
based
get
off what I told you.
indoctrinated.
Like,
I got indoctrinated by the School of Hard Knocks,
there you go,
being with people.
and the Bible.
Same thing.
The Bible didn't indoctrinate me.
Well, with the Bible things, it did,
Yeah, right.
but nothing else.
yeah,
Nothing of the world.
nothing of the world. And I'm just a simple guy anyway, so I would have never made it through there anyway.
How did you know? When did you know you wanted to be a preacher?
Oh, yeah. Good question.
Yeah, so whenever, I went to church all growing up, but hated it. And I was even in youth group and did all those things, but yeah, more because somebody made me. So anyway, married Sherry, hadn't given my life to Christ. As soon as I gave my life to Christ in my 20s, again, it's going to sound weird to people, but immediately after I got up off my knees and prayed, I felt from God, heard from God, however he's like, I want you to go into full-time ministry. And I'm like, I had seen full-time pastors, and like I always tell the story, like every time I looked at a pastor, this is what I saw. They were poor, their kids were crazy,
Yes.
and they ended up in sexual sin. Like
Yes.
it seems like every pastor I'd ever been around, you see him like having sex with the choir director or like, no, seriously,
Yeah,
this happens
it's-
all
this
the
does
time.
happen,
Like you see it
yeah,
all the time.
unfortunately.
Their kids are absolutely like
Yep.
jumping off the balcony.
Nobody will let you go out with the pastor's son.
True. Yeah.
True story.
Yeah.
I've
We
heard
always
you-
wanted to go out with the pastor's daughter
Right?
growing up.
I know. I was a pastor's son. I wasn't allowed.
Yeah,
Mike
yeah,
just confirmed
and then add to it, they're always poor, and I didn't want to be poor. So I became a part-time youth pastor. So I was a part-time youth pastor and a mechanic for 15 years. But during that time, there was always this calling, like, I want you in ministry, until I finally just sold everything I owned and moved over here
He
to
surrendered.
be in full-time ministry.
You were avoiding him for 15
You've
years.
talked a lot about that journey in quite a few of your sermons, and at that one point, I remember you saying that you started going to church just so you could date Sherry.
Oh,
Is that
for
true?
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, I had no use for the church.
Right.
Because, again, I always felt like you go there, and honestly, you don't really see any change. People just go through the routine. They don't do anything about it. You know, it's just like,
Yeah.
but if Sherry wanted me to go, and I liked her, she
Oh,
was
yeah.
hot. And I'm like, if I want Sherry and she makes me go to church, like, I don't care. I can put up with an hour.
I can sacrifice an hour for that.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. An hour for her.
Got you to go.
That's what made me keep going. But then she never pressured me into giving my life to Christ. She was just like, you
Really?
should go to church. No, I mean, it's funny because one of the Bibles I have, she gave it to me as a wedding present.
Yes.
You know, and
Yeah,
essentially
yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
hope you read this, essentially.
Were things not quite clicking? I mean, did you not quite get it when you guys got married?
About Jesus?
Yeah.
No.
Really? Wow.
So she was fine marrying an
Oh, I know.
unsaved man?
Listen, we're a terrible example of what we would tell our kids never to do.
So you went,
That's always the case,
so you went
though.
to church your whole life and you never was saved.
Never. No.
That's possible.
I think that's what
Oh,
drives a
probably.
lot of your passion, right? Like, you've said that in your sermons too. Like, there's people sitting out here that might not be that have never heard the gospel.
Well, here's
Yeah.
the funny thing. You think about this. I went to church from the time I was a kid
Mm-hmm.
all the way till I gave my life to Christ and never saw one person baptized.
Wow.
Really?
Not one.
Really?
No.
Wow.
Again, I grew up in a Methodist church. You never saw baptisms. Like, you saw infant baptisms, like, because that's what they did, is you did infant baptisms at the time. And you never saw people getting up there and telling their story of, like, my life has changed and this is what God's doing. And so I'm thinking, my dad's falling asleep. The majority of men don't come.
Yeah.
Like, there are hardly any men in church.
Wow.
Like, they all have women, and the women brought their kids. You don't think,
Yeah.
listen, this is true
In
today.
Methodist?
I'm saying in general, how many times do you see men who are fervently on fire for Jesus and discipling their kids and like changing? Like, it's mostly moms who brought their kids to church.
They're good at it.
Yeah.
You said it last night. They're good at it.
Yeah, and I'm sitting
Yeah.
here thinking, why would I? And Nick and I were having this conversation. I think church is made for women anyway. Like, everything in church is designed feminine. Like,
Yeah.
how many guys really love to sing? How many guys really love to do some of those? Like, even the decorations in the church are for women. Like, how many guys think of, like...
I didn't love to sing till I figured out what worship really was.
No, I know, but you're abnormal. No, I'm just saying, let's be honest.
You're special.
How many guys are, like, really engaged in worship?
Not very many.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's all you do.
Well, you don't know where their heart is either. I mean, you focus on, like we were talking earlier about hand raising and stuff.
No.
We focus on, what's your outward expression look like, but during worship, we don't know where people's hearts are at. So.
Or if you think of a lot of guys, they're listening to preachers who never really lived life. So it's a hard connection.
Yeah.
You sit there and listen to a guy who went to college, went to seminary, and then he's worked in a church all of his life. And you're sitting in there saying, like, I'm trying to figure out my life. And a lot of times it doesn't make sense.
It's like a politician.
Yeah, so it's really difficult for the person, for a man to engage with people because it's like, I don't even see you in real life. Like, I see you in your office or I see you in church, but sometimes it's hard to engage, So for me, it was always like, I could never be just a pastor, because part of what I think helps me is, like, I'm in the world and I have businesses and
you're well-rounded.
I'm out there with people. And I'm not saying it's wrong for the people who don't do that.
Right.
For me personally, for me to be able to relate, like, I need to be in the world where they are. Like, I need to be doing what their struggles are every day too, so that there's some sort of relatability of scripture.
Right.
Saying, like, this is just my story and, and I went down that road and here's how I apply it to my business, or here's how I apply it to my farms, or here's how I apply it in those coaching or whatever those areas,
But it works because
of life are.
you never want to listen to somebody that is saying something that they've never been through.
Well, I just think
annoying.
it's hard. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you guys can probably speak into that, but I was always looking at that guy sitting there in a robe, and I'm like, this guy, I have no relatability with this guy.
Yeah.
First of all, why is a guy wearing a robe? I'm like, why?
Yeah, I have a real problem with that garb, man.
But it's a deal. Like, it's still a deal.
Yeah.
What, a robe?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, certain denominations have certain
Back in the day,
garbs that
Always wearing what was underneath it.
That's a good one. What is underneath it?
Well, Chad,
or like for a
find
church
out.
to become contemporary, like the pastor is going to take off his robe and his tassels. And I'm
Yeah.
like, is this really
Go
what
wild.
we're doing? Like, what is going on around
Taking
here?
your robe and tassels off?
Yeah, I
Sounds
don't know.
fun.
It was just always, so part of my passion for being a church planner was just like, there has to be a different way to do church.
Yeah.
There just has to be a different way to relate with people. There has to be, again, and I've said this on all of my podcasts that we've talked about this, I have passion to reach men. Like, I want to figure out how to reach men. And if we can figure out how to reach men, I think you can change the world. Like, if men step into their leadership roles and do
You
what
reach a
God's
man,
doing.
you reach a whole entire family.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But again, is church really designed to reach men, or is it designed to reach women and children? And I've always said there's a lot of times that church is designed to reach women and children, and that's why they come, and that's why guys are sitting at home. Because what is there for a man to do?
So how would we change that?
Well, I'm just saying. I think
That's what I was getting ready to say. We don't have like a roadmap for church. Like, we have our Western model, an hour on Sunday, sing, message, go home. I don't, I have my complaints, but I don't have any solutions. There's not, the Bible's not very clear about what we should be doing.
Well, I think part of the problem
I don't
is
think
that,
it is, but-
well, I think it does it in a couple different ways. It's just the Western church has not accepted it. So Scripture tells us pretty clearly that for all of us, that he's gifted us, right? So he's gifted us like naturally. So everybody's born with a natural gift. Like I, work with your hands or do it.
Yeah.
And he's designed you in a certain way. So here's what we know about men. They find their identity in what they can build and what they can do with their hands, right? So that's how men find their identity. You're never going to change that. 90%, 95% of all men's design is to find fulfillment in what they can do with their hands.
Right.
So the church essentially ignores that, because what can a man do with his hands in church?
You can raise them.
Yeah.
You can raise them.
Yeah.
lot
Other
of
than
things.
that, how does he fit in? How does he?
Well, he doesn't.
That's my point.
then,
So then
yeah.
the other part of it is then he's also given you a spiritual gift. So the point is how do you put those two things together, and then how does the church help figure that out? Like, how do we design church around the abilities for a man to be able to do things that contribute to the overall salvation of people, even if it means building something or constructing something, or again, doing like this whole adulting 101, that's going to happen. So adulting 101 is the idea of how men can teach other men and boys and women how to build a house and how to plumb and how to do, but there's purpose behind it. It's like helping them see other men who are Christ followers, and you're doing it together. And so then what goes with that is we're processing, putting in a shop here, not processing, we're actually going to do
We are now?
Yeah, so we're going to be putting in a shop by the back of the stage, and that shop is going to be used to build stage design. And again, I've always said, like, I don't really care that much about stage design. I just think it should change all the time so men can build things.
Ooh, that'll be a
Men
good
can work
opportunity.
together.
Like a woodworking shop.
That's my
Yeah.
point. And so then you could bring other guys in and say, listen, you might not know your place, but you could come and help me build in this wood shop, or we can design it out of metal, and we can cut and we can do, and then we're going to put it up there. And then all of a sudden you're like, listen, I have my place. And now when I'm sitting there on Sunday, I'm like,
you can see your work.
I'm a part of this. Like I'm.
If there's anything men will do, believers and non-believers alike, it's like pick up a 2x4 and like hit it against something.
No, I know. That's my point. Yeah. So my point is so why doesn't the church, instead of just saying we have a box that you have to fit into, we're just saying, no, we're going to design everything around this aspect. So if men are designed in certain ways and have those gifts, so what do we do? Instead of just saying, we're going to change stage design. This is just an example. We're only going to change stage design twice a year because we just want to do it. Instead of saying, I would change stage design. If we had men that want to build, I'd change stage design every 3 weeks.
Yes.
And the stage design is based out of what are these men now good at and use their craftsmanship, but teach them to do it on purpose. And so what would it look like, and what can we try, and how can you develop? And then all of a sudden you're giving them buy-in, and then all of a sudden you're saying, see, God did design you, and there's nothing wrong with your design. The church, when you come and there's nothing there, says there's something wrong with you. Because you were designed and find fulfillment in something that's not here. So you stay home and you do it somewhere else. And so the church has to organizationally think through, how do you take the design of a man and give him the ability to be able to do it? And so that's what we have to process, and that's what we are going to try to do, because then there's the outside of church. What should we be doing as men? So we should be outside of the church helping other guys use their gifting and their talents, from the perspective of purpose, and then how can they use that purpose to further the kingdom. But inside of the church, I think there's a whole nother realm. So I don't know that that's a solution, but that's what we're going to try to do. Because we're going to try to figure out how to get that done, and how to, and again, instead of complaining about it, how do we go after, that part of it. So
it's a good step in the right direction, definitely.
Well, and I think what Nick said is true, and I think this is scriptural. If you can reach a man, right, you can reach a whole family.
Absolutely.
I take my girls to dad camp every year, and that's their motto. Yeah. If you reach a man, you reach a family.
Right. Well, you think about
dad camp.
Yeah.
What is dad camp?
Dad camp is it's a 3-day weekend for you and your daughters or sons, and it's just intense, man. They take all the dads, they put you in a room, and they take all the kids and they play with them, and they're just like, you need to do better, and here's the tools to help you do better, and it's awesome.
Wow.
And I'm getting to the point now where I'm.
You're graduated from it?
No. Well, my kids still want to go. Ellie's going to be, she'll be 12 next year, and like she still looks forward to it. And it's just a good idea. It's a really good tool. And I took the kids together this year. Next year I won't be able to do that, but I took both kids together this year, and that was a really neat experience. Yeah. So I know I've talked to you about it. I need to get you in on it, Chad.
That's a good bonding experience.
It
is. I forget when it's always in the springtime, isn't it?
Well, we got options. It's in the fall, late summer. Yeah. But they give you tools to have like tough conversations with your kids. Good. And it's like my kids are so awkward. Like, hey, Daddy, he loves you, and they're like, okay.
Well, and again, back to the men thing, like this is one of the things that I've been processing for the coming years is like they do these things because like you look at the military and you look at other places where they develop men, you know, they put them in situations to challenge their perspective and challenge their fortitude and challenge where they are. But the Christian church does none of that.
Yeah,
like the Christian church doesn't provide, like Dad Camp as an example is I'm going to challenge your perspective as a father. I'm going to challenge your perspective as. So it's like, what is the church doing organizationally? Like where do you see in the organizational chart of the church is kingdom building for men, and we're gonna put them in environments where we're going to teach them how to be men. We're going to teach them the design they got. But like, where do you see that anywhere in an organizational chart of a church when it could be when Scripture would say, based on what you said, Nick, the most important thing, right?
Yeah. So why aren't we doing it?
Yeah. So why isn't it anywhere in the chart?
Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Because church is made for women.
Well, that's why I mean,
I
I really put myself out there. Like Fight Club, you ever heard of Fight Club?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's just for men.
Yeah.
I mean, so I go seek those things, and you know, they're all kind of third-party organizations.
Right.
You know, they're not based out of any one church.
Right.
So you know, they're out there, but you gotta go get them.
Right. But
and you gotta drag. You know, you gotta try to drag your buddies with you, and if you ask 10, you might get 1. You know. So.
Right. But if you were looking at it from the perspective of like, how can we be effective? And we know Scripture says if you can reach men, you can change a family. Why wouldn't the church focus around those things? Why wouldn't we create environments for men? You know, and again, this isn't when I say church is made for women. Why, Chad? Because
it's hard.
Hard to reach men. Yeah. But do you think if we gave them environments that fit more of their like what they're already doing, and then teach them purpose behind it, that they would be more apt to be a part of it?
I would think so.
Yeah, because don't you think it's part of the hard part of it is we ask them to do something that's completely foreign. You know what I mean? Like we're asking them to be a part of something that there would be nothing normal in that. Like, can you be an acolyte, or can you be a, you know, compared to, can you be a, well, you've heard of the acolyte things, right? Like candle lighter people?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
I can't do that, Mike. I'd burn the church down.
We could.
But you know what I'm saying? Like we ask them to do things that
they don't want to do.
Just use Nick as an example. Be a worship leader. You know, how many men are prepared?
And I hate when I don't like doing it.
But see, that's my point.
That's part of the process, man. You want to grow, like get uncomfortable.
Yeah, but that's my point. How many guys are going to be like, I'm shying away from that? Because that's honestly, for some people, that's never going to be their gift.
Right.
And
it's not even a gift. It's not a gift.
But the point is, they don't even need to be challenged to be the worship leader. If they could go into a room and teach a young man how to build something and give him Jesus in the midst of it, do they have to be a worship leader?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
No, how do we gear church more from like how do we get them in there? Because we come here on occasion, and you know there was a few ladies from my hometown that sat in front of me and their husbands weren't with them, and it's the first thing I told Holly when we left, like, gosh, where are their husbands?
Right.
Watching the football game.
Sunday.
Hey, we should probably start on segment 1 here.
No, I know. Yeah. Hey, this is
segment
good.
1?
Yeah. Like, Jenny, what are you doing?
I could
Jenny,
go
what are you doing?
Segment 1.
Yeah, Jenny, what are you doing in your life right now?
What are you doing? Oh, what am I doing in my life?
What am I doing? The segment, Jenny. Even Nick knows it. Like, the first segment is you're supposed to kick us off of, like, what's going on in your life.
Well, there's been a lot since we've last talked.
Yeah, so give us a couple things.
All right, 2022. So I am just making changes.
So do you have notes?
Basically, yeah, I do. Wow. I'm a new person.
Okay.
New year, new me.
Yes. And if they're not called goals, I changed it to plans.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm getting real, okay? This is not a dreaming, which I did write dream, but no. This is plan. It's my purpose, all that good stuff. Okay. So I already told you about the book. I'm going to start reading one every season.
Yeah, so make sure everybody...
4 is a lot.
Listen, so if you listen to the podcast, one thing you know about Jenny needs held accountable because she's promised to do a lot of things that she's never done.
Yes.
But we'll compliment you. You started journaling. Are you keeping it up?
Yeah.
What kind of books you're going to read?
Improvement books.
Do you have one picked out?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Atomic Habits.
Okay, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a real good
I know.
one.
I'm not playing games. And I...
Okay, so let's go back on this. Are you reading it or listening to it?
I'll probably do both.
Okay.
I've thought about that.
Okay.
Because since I do have ADHD, it's really hard for me to read stuff because I read it and then I forget and then I'm doing something else.
And listening's just as
5
hard too.
minutes.
I'm the same way.
You too?
Yeah,
It's so bad.
Because Nick has ADHD.
Even read.
No, I
even
got all the
listening.
ADs.
Me
whatever.
too. I do too.
Do you have a problem just listening too? I do.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I don't hear any of it.
Choice.
Yeah. I have to continue. I have to constantly remind myself, like if you're talking and I'm like, whoop, I gotta dial back in.
Yes.
You know, so.
It's hard. It's a rough life for us.
So your goal, you're going to start off 2022 and our podcast audience is going to keep you accountable.
Yes. So I'm hitting on the hard ones, okay? So the next one is I am going to start going to bed at 12 p.m.
What?
What?
You notice how every single person
I know,
like,
but what?
12 p.m.?
That is early.
Most people getting up to pee for the first time.
I know. I've already went through the REM sleep and everything. Hey, this is major improvement.
We're all
From 3
farmers.
a.m.
Yeah, I know we're all going to bed at like 9.
Yeah, well, I went to bed at like 2 last night.
let's do this. Are
Okay.
you doing the bedtime thing on your phone?
Wait, what do you mean?
Your iPhone. So
Were
you
you
can set your
tracking it or
bedtime reminder
Oh, yes.
and
yes.
your sets of goals, like how much sleep do you want? And you have to
Right.
get up by a certain time because going to bed at a certain time don't mean diddly squat.
Right.
So what time are you getting up?
I said 8,
That's only 6
which
hours.
that's really early too.
8 hours.
It is. That's so early.
No, I'm just saying.
It really is.
Okay.
Okay.
So 6 hours of sleep is your goal, not going to bed at midnight.
6 hours of sleep. That would be like 8. Maybe
Well,
7.
I guess last night you went to bed at 2. you
Well,
said.
yeah, I went to bed at 2. I don't know what happened. I was ready for bed at 12, and then I got distracted.
Okay.
Saw
Okay.
squirrel.
So, what'd you say?
Saw squirrel.
I did, man. This
Okay,
thing
give
was
us another
running.
goal.
Okay, so crap. I can't remember what exactly this one was. Man, that's why
Well,
I
it's not a
printed
goal, it's a
off the
plan.
whole-
thought you had
Right,
notes.
that's
Plan.
right. Huh?
Thought you had notes.
Well, I do.
She just doesn't know what it is.
But I have
It's a big
printed
plan,
off.
Chad.
I have a lot of goals.
No, I
okay,
know.
and I even separated them into categories.
Okay.
So I'm working on my finances
Atta girl.
because I'm really, really bad.
Atta girl.
Have
Because you're
you-
just an impulse spender.
Have you done financial peace?
Oh, I've done all that.
Have
I've been
ya?
to so many rehabs where they do that. That's the one
Oh,
thing
no
that they
kidding.
teach you is so many financial
Ramsey.
courses.
Yeah.
So I've done them all,
Have
graduated
ya?
from them all. So when I leave, I'm like, I do the opposite. I'm really, really bad with my money.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, it's just the proof that you can take whatever class you want, but if your value system doesn't
Right,
change,
right.
you're going to continue to do
Exactly.
what you want to do. Right?
Exactly. And my word of the year is intentional because I'm trying to be intentional with everybody.
Okay.
Amen.
Yeah.
And
That's good.
intentionally being on time and not being selfish.
Oh, I was on time today.
No, I know, but that's part of
You
your
think
thing.
it's selfish?
To be late?
Yeah.
Yes. Why is that not selfish?
I don't think it's selfish.
How is being late not
I
selfish?
mean, when I'm late, I don't mean to be selfish.
Well, you are.
Well, I don't mean
Whether
to
you
be.
mean to be or not.
But
you
in my
are.
heart, I know I'm not like doing it.
It doesn't
to
matter
be
what's in your
vindictive.
heart. You're being selfish to every single person who set a time to do something, and you're like, but I'm going to be on my own time because I could give a crap less what you were doing. Selfishly, you're making decisions to not
getting
think of
kinda
anybody
awkward, yeah.
else.
Do you think it's awkward?
Maybe you guys should have a
Let's go
meeting
get
or
some
something.
coffee.
Oh no, this is like the thing. If you listen all the time, you know we have.
This
these
is
things.
for the people that
Wait.
are like me. 'Cause
Okay,
there
wait,
are more
Nick,
people.
are you don't think it's selfish to be
Don't
late?
drag me into you and Jenny's
No,
problems.
I mean, Chad, is it selfish to be late? See?
I could see why.
I'd say so.
I could see why.
Nick?
I'm not late very often to stuff, but
I don't know if selfish is the word.
Right,
I mean,
thank you.
I mean, being late is something. I'm not sure selfish is the word.
What is it then? Like, why would you be late if you were considering somebody else? What would make you late?
Because some people can't help it.
No, you
like
can't.
I get distracted.
No, that's a
No,
decision.
Maybe
you
her-
should see
that's a
me
decision.
leave.
Her
I will
dog was
record-
outside and she couldn't get it back in.
She saw a squirrel.
Saw a
Yeah.
squirrel. I mean,
I had a really bad driver in front of me.
Sherry, well, no, you prepare for all those things because you remember your early is
I
on time.
know.
Early is on time.
if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
I hate that. I like to be right on time.
Put that on your plan or your goal or your plan?
I
just
thought
leave
about it.
15 minutes.
No,
He's not willing to work
I
on that.
actually wanted to work on the stuff that I wanted to work on. I didn't want to write stuff down just for it, and I didn't want to do that this year.
Okay, but that's next year.
Maybe.
Yeah, the reason that I'm passionate about it is because my wife was consistently late to everything. And so I'd be like...
Did you watch her, though? Like, sometimes you struggle to get out of the door.
No, here's what happened. Here's how it worked.
Okay.
So she would have all day. Lexi's the same way. I have all day long to get ready. Wait till the last minute, you know. And I'm like, we're leaving. We're leaving.
Cars
to the
running.
point where I just left her.
That's the worst. I've had that happen to me before.
No, I just left her. I'm like, listen, if the other vehicle's out there, I'm going. You had all
like
the
to be
time in
late.
the world to get ready. You need to get ready. I'm leaving. So I have no idea why you can't get ready. And it tended to remedy some of it. You know,
they have stuff to do.
No, she didn't have things to do.
What was she doing?
Jacking around.
Right.
Doing other things instead of getting ready.
Well, maybe she didn't want to get ready in that moment.
No, I know. She didn't. That was the whole point.
Why?
She was being selfish because she was thinking about what she wanted to do and not what...
She had to do her makeup.
Okay, we're moving on.
She had to do her makeup and then it might like sweat off.
We talked about quarreling last night.
Yeah,
I know. That's why it's going to be good. We're going to...
You're gonna get coal. You're gonna get coal on your head.
I'm going to get rid of my head.
Wait till you hear the story.
There's a lot of inside stuff.
Yeah, we had this
so.
discussion at our small group.
You had to be there.
Yeah. No, you'll be there. In
Okay.
just a second,
So everybody will.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm done.
Good. So, Chad, tell us a little bit about you and what's going on in your life so our audience can get to know you. Nick is famous, but you're going to be the next famous. Next famous.
You're his friend.
So I've been a farmer my whole life. I went to Manchester High School, went to Manchester College, and I didn't want to go to Manchester College, but I went for my family.
They made you go?
They wanted you?
They wanted me to experience, they wanted me to get education, and that was fine. It was 2 miles from the house.
So did you stay? I mean, in Manchester, do you stay on campus?
No,
you don't. Like you
no,
go back home?
I stayed at home because I kept my pigs at home. So that was kind of the reason why I went to Manchester College, because Dad said we had to sell them if I went away to Purdue.
What do you mean your pigs? Like you have a special pig?
No, I had 40 sows growing up. It was 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 as I got older.
Wow, look at you. So you were farrowing sows when you were...
I was farrowing sows, probably...
Well, that's how you
my
got the
first
land.
litter was like 87.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you meant like 80 pigs.
Yeah.
80 pigs.
Oh, my goodness.
How old were you?
Poor pig.
Yeah, somewhere in there. 10, 12, 8, 9, 10, 12.
Yeah, so
right?
you beat
Wow.
me. My first sows, I had 10 sows and a boar, and they had their first litter when I was 12.
Nice.
Oh, my God.
So I had to ran that little
You
operation.
did?
Yeah. Chad's beat me, though, because he's like, when he was
And you took
8,
care of it?
Was that it?
Yeah.
By
Where you
yourself?
live now?
I still got the farrowing crates.
Do you really?
In the barn, in the old chicken house, farrowing house where we live now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used them, up there till I got rid of the sows.
Well, here, I got one for you, Chad. So on one of Sherry and I's, because Sherry and I met when I was 15, so it's something I had been doing for a while, so we went out on a date, and then I had to go out and take care of pigs.
And you took her with you?
Yeah, so one of the first things that she did, she was a city girl, I was like, we're having this sow's having trouble having babies. Can you stick your hand up there? And
Did she?
She did it. I'm like, you're in, baby.
Yeah.
I'm marrying you.
Oh, my God.
The women are the best ones to do that because they got small
I
hands.
know. She had tiny hands, and she could go right up in there and do it. So did you have that with your future wife? Did she experience any of that?
Well, she was a farm
Traumatizing.
girl.
My wife came from
she
a dairy
was.
farm anyway, so
So she was a farmer by heart.
Yeah, she probably would have. She would have did that.
Yeah,
if
you
I'd
didn't have
asked
to
her.
break her in. See, I had to break Sherry in. She was a city girl.
Yeah.
So I had to make sure she... Yeah. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
so you had
that's
pigs
good.
at home.
So I had
you
pigs
kept
at
that
home.
going.
Went to college. I knew that I wanted to farm from the day I could talk.
4-H.
Because you were around it, right?
I was around it. Yeah, my dad had a couple
Lived
other
it.
businesses too, but just it's all I ever wanted to do.
See, isn't that cool? Like that, what we were talking about earlier, that makeup, that DNA.
Yeah.
Like there's something in you that's just like,
Well,
I'm going to
and-
be a farmer.
Yeah.
And I think that desire to farm, and that's all I knew I wanted to do. I think that got me through the eye problem. I really do. It gave me drive, not to worry about not seeing. That's worry about how are we going to continue on?
Another like plan or purpose, like a
Yeah, because again, Jen, I don't know how much you want to share with the
Right.
audience.
I
know
can
your
share it
story,
all, it
because the
don't
point
matter.
would be is like I don't know if people know that like you were a farmer and you had your sight and you lost
Right.
your sight. Like I
Right.
don't know if maybe that's good for our audience to understand. Of like you did have to deal with. You had sight. Something happened on the farm.
Really?
Right? Like I don't even know the story for sure. But
So I met Jamie. I knew Jamie, my wife. We started dating. She was at Purdue, and then she decided that she wanted to move home, live in my farmhouse, and transfer her credits to IPFW. And so that's what she decided to do. And then that would have been in like I don't know, 01 maybe. And then in 03 is when the eye accident happened. I had tractor batteries blow up in my face.
tractor batteries. Were you changing them or something?
I had just put a battery charger on the tractor to start. It was my grind and feed tractor, and they apparently shorted out. I didn't
my
do anything
gosh.
wrong.
Right.
It just
It happens.
just
it
happened.
Sure
happened.
happens.
And I was,
Bad accident.
you know, if I would have been,
Wow.
if I'd had glasses on, you know, if I needed to wear glasses, you know, I probably would have been saved. But because it just hit me right across here.
Really?
Wow.
I bent over to turn the charger down because the tractor didn't start. And I had the charger, and it was a pretty big charger right up against the side of the tractor. And when I bent down to turn it down, I heard a sizzle noise, and I cocked my head. And the battery, you know, was right here, right beside me.
Wow.
And they exploded right in my face.
And you're saying so your drive to be a farmer in that time of like, wow, this is life changing.
Yeah,
kept
because
you going.
I remember I never really felt depressed. Like, I'm sure lots of people would.
Yeah.
You know, but I think the drive to farm got me through, you know, the not knowing what's going to happen going forward.
Right.
So that all happened, and then, you know, my wife stuck around, and we ended up getting married. And so we waited to have kids because, Lord, I had 26 eye surgeries in my left eye.
Oh my
Did you
gosh.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Over
how long?
Oh, probably over like maybe 12-year period.
Wow.
I'd say most of them were in the 10.
2 a year.
But yeah,
That's a lot.
yeah. There was the first year my mom took me to Indianapolis like every 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
So did you have to relearn how to do a lot of stuff like a different way?
No,
Like farming?
no. It just came natural. I feel like
That's awesome.
you know if I was around home, it was easy.
Yeah.
You know, I knew where
Yeah.
everything was at. I know where my tools are. You know, that was easy. It was when I got away from home, got a little bit where I needed help. And obviously my sight back then was better than it is today. I mean, my doctor got me back 3 different times. So I could see 2 or 3 different times within that 15 years.
Oh,
Yeah, you were
wow.
driving for
Wow.
what, 6 months, or I don't know, how long did you drive?
Accident happened September 3rd, and I had stem cell transplant in January, roughly in January. And I got my new driver's license in March, and I was planting my corn in May.
Wow. So you were driving for 6 months?
I wasn't driving for about 6 months. I got back, they got me back, and then there was lots of ups and downs, like
Yeah.
rejected, and
Wow.
so.
Meaning, is that the thing? Like, I didn't know that. Like, stem cells is the thing that makes it so your eyes.
So, a normal person has cells on the surface of their eye to see clearly on the cornea. And mine were damaged, like mine wouldn't grow back.
Okay.
And so that's when they tried they sewed umbilical cords in my eyes because of the cell growth and nutrition.
Wow.
And that didn't help. And then finally it was a 5-hour surgery, stem cell transplant. To do this surgery today it's in 3 steps, but the surgery is only like 40 minutes, 35.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's what we looked at doing, but they were going to use my dad because he was a match. I have changed in the 18 years within my blood type that they check, and so dad's out they tested my half-brother Chris. He's out. And so I opted not to. They could do cadaver, totally cadaver, but I'd have to take even more strength of anti-rejection drugs. And so I've opted out not to have surgery.
So what are they a donor for? Like, what is it? Your eyes, or what is it that they're donating?
Cells from the surface of my eye. Yeah.
That's so
They
interesting.
would do stem cell they were going to do it from my dad, and then they would do a cornea transplant. And then they would do like a cataract surgery.
That's so
in 3
interesting.
steps.
Yeah, no, I know. But through all of this, you've kept farming.
I've kept farming.
Yeah, right, the whole time.
And that's kind of what I decided. Like my health is, I've made it 18 years. Like we have a successful farm, you know, due to lots of different things.
Right.
My family, my wife, great hired hands.
Right.
But, you know, I don't need to see to continue on. And I don't want to take those anti-rejection drugs to be not healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I want to be able to be healthy.
Right.
And who's to say they would affect my health? I don't know, but I feel like I'm just going to wait on technology to get better, and we'll just wait.
Because they haven't done surgery on your right eye, right?
They've never touched my right eye. It's healthy. Far as the eye itself's healthy, the surface was damaged from the acid.
Wow.
So we'll wait.
Yeah, wait and see.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah, good.
That's inspiring. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yep.
So, Nick, tell us a little bit about you for people that don't know or maybe tuning in for the first time from
The
Nevada.
worship leader.
Yeah, the worship leader.
Well,
Nick Coffey.
I like to talk about myself,
Do you?
but
Here you go.
I've been on here before, so you can just rewind, right? But
Well, we have new listeners.
Yeah.
Before you made fun and said we only had 7. We have more than 7
Yeah.
now.
so
They don't want to go back up.
Yeah, so me and Chad are good friends. You guys asked me to come on again, and I was like, well, only if Chad comes. So me and Chad go to men's group on Monday nights with Mike. So that's kind of where we're at. You know, that's how we kind of get plugged in here. But we've been friends a long time. I don't know how far back we go.
When you know, your dad, of course, worked for Strauss.
Our dads worked together. My father-in-law fed calves for your dad back in the 80s. So
Your dad was also into the field?
oh yeah, he was big time, man.
Yeah, Dad put what on? Yeah, 70. We converted a chicken house, a floor chicken house, to a veal barn in, I don't know, 1970, and then they built a new one in like 75.
Yeah, it's funny when I listen to old people talk about their veal barn experiences because back then it was like veal was money.
I can tell you,
Really?
they
Like
used
you
to
could
make
money. in
Really?
in the glory days of the veal business. They would make back then. They would make 50,000 a room.
Yeah.
Kind of like milk. They used to make like doing milk back in the day.
Yeah.
Like being a dairy?
Yeah, my great
so
uncle
much
did
anymore.
that. Yeah,
Really?
being at the dairy,
Yeah, the
whatever.
Dairy's not that good right now.
Yeah, but it used to be.
No,
That's
I
how
hear
he
these
made all his
stories of
money.
like people who built veal barns back in the day were like, this is the way to make money.
They'd build them and pay for them in a couple years.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Wow.
And then they didn't. I mean, a lot of guys didn't plan, and then it went south.
Yeah, right.
And then they owed the company money.
Yeah,
And then
right.
For feed.
And then Strauss ended up with a lot of the places.
Yeah,
But our kids are the same age. Chad's 10 years older than me. We went to the same high school. His daughter and my daughter, they're 11, and they're like the best of friends. So
Oh, that's cool.
it's been, and that's all by accident. I mean, we never pushed. I mean, we spent time together, and they've really been drawing close. So it's
4-H probably.
Yeah,
helped their
4-H.
friendship.
Oh yeah.
yeah. So if I want to go see Chad, I ask the girls if I want to go to the Key Favors, and it's like, whoa, that's, so and they're just you're just a couple miles away now. He used to live in the South Whitley area, but they built a new home on the home farm basically, right? So
Grandpa's place 4 years ago.
yeah. So yeah, we're from the same hometown. I got smoking hot wives.
That's what they tell me. That's what they say.
But
Yeah, you won't even know what your wife looks like when you see her again, will you?
Now that's the
Yes,
joke. Like
now.
when we were gonna have eye surgery this winter, Nick's like,
Oh my
man,
gosh.
him and Holly was like, man, we're gonna have to like start working out.
I don't want them to be disappointed.
That's hilarious.
Because it's been what 10, 12 years since you've seen me.
Clearly,
So,
yeah, to see clearly,
Yeah.
it's been.
So have people
10,
been describing you what Nick looks like?
Yeah, because we can do it for you.
We talk about that. Jamie asked, "Do you know what they look like?" Not Nick, but you know,
Yeah.
just in general. And I'm like, I got a good idea.
Really?
I have a good idea.
Do you make it up in your head? Because I would find that I would do
You know, well, you think I watch movies. I watch basketball games.
Yep.
Because, you know, my passion was basketball. I played it and coached it.
Oh, really?
What?
When I could see.
Really? Mm-hmm. So do you have a favorite team?
Purdue, but, you know, I like basketball in general. Like, after Bible study last night, you know, Iowa and Maryland was on, so I sat and watched it till I fell asleep. But
hey, Chad was on the 94, 95, right?
93, 94.
Regional champions, Manchester High School. Last time we had a basketball team
We got beat by the state champs.
By Clay, wasn't it? And I remember back, I mean, you know, so in the 90s, Friday night men's basketball.
What? And people love to go to it?
Oh, it's packed.
We had stadium seats.
Small town.
We were one of the only high schools in the state with stadium seats. Wow. Season ticket holders, right, Chad? I mean, people like, season ticket holders.
Well, wait a minute.
You couldn't buy any new seats.
Well, we still have the stadium seats at Manchester. I still have the original 3 stadium seats on the front row that my parents had.
Wow.
Are you serious?
You rent them out or something?
No, well, it's changed now.
You always
I think my mom put them in my name when they decided they weren't going to go no more. And I'm like, well, you know, I don't know if we're going to go either. But that was before we decided to send my kids to Manchester.
Wow.
Before they were born, I'm like, well, you never know. If I have kids and they go to Manchester, I might want them someday.
But it was like we painted our face. So I would have been 10 and, you know, Chad would have been obviously in high school. So I'm 10 years younger than him. But we like as kids, we painted our face every Friday night. We had men's basketball that night.
Yeah. So what went wrong? Because that ain't the way it is now.
Well, and not to dog on the ladies, but at some point, well,
there you go.
When I was in school, they started doing girls basketball. They had like a rotation where they did girls basketball on Friday nights too. So it was like men's basketball every Friday, and then whenever the girls were. And then like the state of Indiana or IHSA, I don't know who changed that. Like it changed.
Went to class.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's still some schools in the state where it's like, you got to have a ticket to have this seat. I'm just saying that's the way.
Like that.
Not too many.
That's the way. And we haven't had, not to dog on Manchester. I don't really follow Manchester. You know, my kids are still kind of young, but you know, we were regional champs that year, so that was a big deal.
Right.
That was a big deal. And I had a signed basketball. I remember wearing a shirt to school.
Momania.
I need tickets.
Momania.
Romania.
Mo Smedley he's like a famous basketball coach.
Really?
Where'd he get his name at? What?
Like the country?
He grew up.
No, not Romania.
Right, Romania.
Momania.
His name was Mo.
Mo Smedley,
Gotcha.
and they made the shirts. They just put on the back Momania, but he was assistant coach under Bill Green at Marion when they had all them good teams.
Do you remember all the Marion teams?
Oh yeah.
No.
Jay Edwards.
Yeah.
Edward Jones.
Yeah, I remember all this because it went to IU.
Right.
Yeah, the good team.
The good team.
Hey,
I didn't say didn't like IU.
Yeah.
You know, they just been
That's
a struggle.
just his favorite.
They've just been struggling. Yeah, right. For a long time, it seems like it's been terrible.
We started hanging out. When the kids were babies. Before the kids were babies, we started hanging out as a married couple. Not him and me married. I think we've already clarified that.
Yes,
right? We're not
we
a
did.
couple,
Right.
but. I had my old signed basketball from the 93-94 team, and I made Chad sign it again.
Oh
Yes, that's perfect.
That's awesome.
Oh, man, we've had a lot of laughs about that. But.
Yeah. Well, no, this is a weird question because now that you said that, I never really thought about that. What do you think I look like?
I know. I wondered.
You know,
I do.
Same
Like in my
thing.
mind, I want. I want to know.
Yeah,
I
what
want to
does he
know
sound
what
like?
people think I would look
Man,
like.
you really put him on the spot there.
yeah, you
Why?
like, because Nick.
Is that bad?
No,
I wanna know,
Nick's
too.
explained. Like you wear cowboy boots and. You just.
Did he tell you I have a beard? Because
Yeah.
that's the most important.
He told me he
That's
had a
all.
beard.
Yeah, I just want to make sure you knew I had
Yeah.
a beard.
He lost his belly.
I don't know. He just told me you're a normal looking guy. Like,
Normal looking.
Well,
I never
for a
thought about it
preacher,
until you said
you know?
that. Of like, I never
I
thought about
know.
like if you close your eyes and you listen to somebody.
Well, I listened
Yeah.
to the podcast.
Right. It's just like podcasts.
So,
you
and
want to
then
know what they look like.
at some point, I get on the YouTube app
Yes.
just to see what the guest
Yes.
looks like
Yes.
for a couple of reasons.
I never thought
One, I
about
want
that.
to know what they look like.
Right.
And two, if I see them out in public, I want to say hi or say something like that. Like I saw that Jeff and Andrea at church, and I was like, dude, that podcast was awesome. That was heavy. And he's like, yeah, thanks, man.
Well, I can tell you this, because all I do is listen to a basketball game, right? These announcers are absolutely awful.
Really?
Like, I have to ask Siri half the time what the score is of the game because
they're just talking.
They're just babbling about nonsense.
Because they never really, so they never really talk about the game,
right,
or what's going on.
That's messed up.
I never thought.
And they never tell the score.
See, I'm gonna have to remember that because I'm an aspiring broadcaster.
Yeah.
Like I want to be a broadcaster.
So remember
that's one of the things I want to do.
Maybe you should on Saturday nights do
start
a football game.
Well, see, I
do a basketball game somewhere.
Right? Yeah, so I used to do all Lexi's volleyball games. So we'd go up to all their home games. So I'd go up and broadcast her.
Do you crack jokes? Huh? Do you crack jokes?
Yeah, no, but
awesome.
Again, you have to have the good play-by-play guy. I'm a color guy,
right?
But you got to have a good play-by-play guy, to be able to,
tell the score.
Well, again, do things that. Then you got to have the color guy that can just add some commentary.
Right.
That's what I want to be.
That's a problem today. They got color all the time.
No, I know you don't have a true play-by-play.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for if you watch IU. Huh? Yeah, if you listen to IU.
So that's what you do. The wrong thing.
No, if you turn, what's his name?
Don't ask me.
What's his name? Don Fisher.
Don Fisher,
Yeah, if you listen to Don Fisher, he's a good play-by-play.
He'd be all right. Yeah, he'd be okay.
He's a great play-by-play guy.
Yeah, he'd be good. Like sometimes I make my wife's doing in a real close basketball game. Like my wife start commentating the game for me.
Will she really?
Yeah,
that is awesome.
That is bad
because
that
I'll be like,
it.
"Who just made that?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
she'll tell me
something Chad didn't tell you. He's always been into 4-H, and you were real big into state. You won the county fair once or twice. What? And back when you did 4-H, there were 600 pigs at Wabash, right?
In '94, my senior year, there was like 681 hogs.
681 hogs at the
county fair.
Oh, and now we're like at 300-ish.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe. So that's pushing it.
What's going on?
So Chad's daughter won Duroc class this year.
Did she really?
Which is that's a huge deal.
One reserve grand with the Duroc.
Oh, I'm sorry, reserve grand. Which is a huge deal. And me and Holly are learning and we're, I'm at the pig show with Chad and your friend Susie was with you. She was commenting because she knows what to say. So his friend Susie's commentating and, the judge is getting ready to go over and slap his hand on Izzy's
pig.
And it's like, oh my gosh, Chad, here he comes, Chad. Here he comes. She won, and it's like this oh man. That was
awesome.
So
it's
my daughter's second year 4-H, and so a longtime friend of mine is Susie, and so last year she would, right before we'd go to the show ring, Susie would come get me, take me to the show ring, and then she'd commentate as Izzy was showing the pig out there.
That's awesome.
And so it just continued on this year because we won last year with the Duroc too, and then we did it again, and so it's just been.
But you were talking about your wife commentating the basketball show. We come over for dinner last fall or whenever, and you guys had a pig show on.
A pig show on TV?
It was some open show, and you knew everybody there.
Yeah,
and Chad's like, "Who was that, Jamie?" And Jamie's like, "Oh, that's so and so's pig." And they went back and forth for hours.
I had no idea that was
of course, Chris was
about
there.
A pig.
His brother Chris breeds, and so he's really plugged into that community.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
It's called Walton Webcasting. All the major pig shows in the country is on this.
Whoa.
Called Walton Webcasting.
Huh? Like the Waltons.
Yeah, it's actually. I think it's from Walton, Indiana, and that's just a little.
You do not know who the Waltons
You don't
are?
know.
Oh, Jenny.
Jenny.
Night John Boy.
Huh?
Night John Boy.
Night John Boy. Is that something to do with the Waltons?
Do you know who the Waltons are? Where have you been, Jenny?
Clearly not where you guys have been.
You have to go home and watch that.
Yeah,
what is it?
The Waltons.
It's a TV show. It's called The Waltons.
Sounds terrible.
It's on Walton.
It's wholesome.
It's on a
Yeah,
mountain.
Exactly. It sounds terrible.
Walton's Mountain.
Yeah.
Waltons.
Yeah, the Waltons. You can
Okay.
probably find it on the Hallmark Channel.
Oh,
Right?
Really?
I have no idea. I'm sure you could stream it on somewhere.
Yeah, it's like a
Pure
Little House on the
Flicks.
Prairie.
Go to Netflix,
You know Little
you-
House on the Prairie, right?
I've seen
It's like
every
that?
episode.
No,
It's
it's
a little bit like
it's a
Little House
little
on the
bit like
Prairie.
it's newer. It's a newer setting. This
No
was set
thanks.
in like the late 30s.
Yeah.
Early 40s.
Jenny's like,
No.
that doesn't want to be your new Netflix binge?
No.
The Waltons?
Not at all.
Okay.
I don't get down with that kind of thing.
You
No,
don't binge watch anything?
Yes, I do all the time.
She was up till 2 last night.
Oh,
She was
yeah.
binging
Yeah.
something.
Sure was.
But you weren't distracted by anything. What
my
were you
phone.
binge watching?
No, I have been binge watching though. I covered this series in 2 days, guys. It's called The Great.
The who?
The Great. It's on Hulu.
Okay.
It's about like old time, like really old time. And normally I don't like old stuff, but it was so good.
Yeah, did you?
It's really bad though, so it's kind of like Game
The
of
last thing
Thrones.
that she binge watched was Secrets in America or something like that. And she was
Yep.
talking about how people didn't go to the moon, right? Something
Yep,
like that.
conspiracies.
Like nobody's ever been to the moon. Neil Armstrong really didn't go to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Because they
That's
just
in
went
the
to
Book
Mars.
of Secrets. Book of Secrets.
Book of
Secrets.
Yeah.
And the
Chad,
KKK.
Chad likes to do like World War II stuff.
I watched all Christmas break. It was called World War II Diaries, and it's day by day of when the war started.
Interesting.
So started. I think the diary thing started 38 to 39, and I'm just like February of 44.
Really?
And
it's going
Jamie's
through
like,
the
"Are
whole
you
thing?
done watching that yet?" Like, I mean, I watched it for hours on a Sunday, like all day, half the night. Yeah, because it's every day. They talk about what's going on in the war in the world every single day.
Did somebody leave notes or something?
You
of
know,
every single
I
day?
can't imagine how they made this because it's the detail of like how many soldiers died on that
Oh,
battle
wow.
and you know how many ships were sank and who was the captain of the ship and blah blah blah. I mean, and that's what my wife probably thinks. Blah blah blah. Like, how much can you watch of that? Like,
Right.
I'm
That's
like,
really
we think our country's screwed up now.
Yeah.
That's not even close to what it was back then.
Right.
Like, if it wouldn't have been for Russia, we'd have never defeated Hitler.
Yeah.
Like, he would have took all of Europe over.
Right. We would have been in trouble.
And us.
It'd have been communist.
And who?
And us.
Us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you got
Probably would
any,
have made it over here.
if you got any World War II questions, ask Chad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
now
You
we
kind
know.
of fit
Dialed
in
in.
as a Russian, though.
I
You
do?
kind of look as a Russian.
Yeah.
Do
You kind
I?
of look
Tall,
Slovakian.
blonde, yeah.
Slovakian. I don't
Yeah.
even know how they talk.
Don't you look like it's not like that?
I know. What is that?
At least
Sorry,
your name,
doesn't she look like
at least her
somebody?
name's
say,
not like
yeah.
Heinrich or something.
I came from a different country.
Definitely some sort of European descent.
No, I
for
know.
sure.
Like she's for
European,
Sure. Yeah, that's what I'm
British.
saying. Like
Give
you're
me the
from.
pot of tea. That was good.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think that was that.
I can better do Australian. Good morning, mate, from down under. One time in like elementary school or middle school, I can't remember. I did a whole presentation on Australia. So I stood up and I
spoke
said,
that
"This is
way.
how I started." I said, "Good morning, guys, from down under." I don't think anybody laughed but me.
You
Yeah.
couldn't even get through the rest of the presentation without even laughing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get into talk a little bit about what we talked about Sunday because we're already 56 minutes.
I don't
in.
care what the
Holy
clock says,
And,
Mike.
Yeah. No, I know you don't. But
Chad has so much to say.
No, not really. No, we didn't even get to, which we're gonna get to at some point, like Chad's best story. Like he's gonna give us a
Yes.
story. That's the best thing. But
Everybody does.
Here's what we
now.
talked about on Sunday. So Taylor preached on Sunday, and he's going through the book of James, and so he talked about James 4. So James 4, again, in the book of James, is the idea of like take a good look at yourself, figure out what you're doing. But he brings up the subject is that he's essentially addressing fighting amongst Christian people, and so. One of the things that we talked about, and he kind of gives some reasons behind it, but what we talked about in small group last night, and some of what Taylor talked about is that why is it so prevalent that there are quarrels among Christian people? Because that's the thing that he was addressing. He's like, the rest of the world, quarrels, but if you're a Christian, there shouldn't be quarreling amongst people. So we asked in small group last night, and maybe we can share some of these things. Like, have you ever been a part of or saw where the ugliness of Christians quarreling? Like,
Yes.
people doing it, and what was it over, and what did you think it was from? So, Jenny, you have a story like where you saw Christians quarreling.
I'm sure if I keep talking, I'll think of a story. But I think Christians fight because of judgmental reasons.
Okay.
Of, I don't know, doing something that's hypocritical of something within the church.
Like somebody saying something about somebody else, and that's what the
Yes.
quarrel is.
Yeah, so maybe like somebody doing something outside of a Sunday that they're not supposed to do, but then
Okay.
they're judging somebody for something different.
Okay.
You
So the
know?
fight would be
Like
we saw you out doing something, and
But they're out doing something bad too. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the take the speck out of your eye kind of
Okay.
a thing.
So you think quarrels start because Christians judging other Christians?
Yeah, that could be one. Maybe not like the whole reason, but that's definitely one of them.
Okay. So have you guys experienced or been a part of or saw quarreling or experienced quarreling between Christians or even in the church? You know,
I've never fought with anybody, Mark.
Oh my gosh.
You need to repent from your lying right now.
I think for me, things that get me fired up are, something you might say that I feel contradicts the Bible, or I feel like you're doing or saying something, that contradicts the Bible, like I said. But I just want people to be the best version they can be, and usually I want it worse than they do, and I'm pretty good about reminding them about that.
They need to fix something.
Yeah, that they need to fix something.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll work and talk through on good ways to do that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's hard to do. Because
part?
that starts fights.
What starts
right
fights?
there when somebody tells you something that they don't want to hear. Like,
have you ever had those experiences?
oh, all the time.
Yeah, where somebody be like, "Hey, Jenny."
Like you need to just anything about like religion.
Okay, like you need to step it up. You need to step
Right.
your game up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chad, have you ever been a part of, saw, witnessed, struggle with like quarrels amongst Christian people?
I can't pinpoint anything at the moment.
I know it's really hard to
It's
do
a
it on
hard
the
one.
spot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that part of what we need to talk about, I think, which is where James was getting to, is why do they fight? So why is it that Christian people are fighting? So Nick's saying the reason Christians fight is because one Christian's trying to prove another Christian.
Interpretation. That's a big
Interpretation?
interpretation of the word.
Okay.
There's always people always going back and forth on that, so that's a big one.
Like fighting on what's right.
Their interpretation of just say one scripture.
Okay,
or
so like the
whole
no
Bible.
makeup thing, that's the first thing that came to my mind.
There you go.
Or the
what?
No makeup.
That's
how
the
it
first
says
thing
it.
that came to your mind?
That was the
It's
first
like you're
thing.
going to argue about whether a person should or shouldn't wear makeup?
That must
That
be.
was the first thing.
Is that in Leviticus or something?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Don't know.
What about tattoos? Do people argue about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that's your body.
Piercings, tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have a tattoo.
Absolutely.
So does your church think there's anything wrong with it?
Nobody's ever said a word to me about it.
Can they
Let
see
them say
it?
a
Like,
word.
do you show it?
Yeah,
Is that the only one you have?
I wear shorts to church.
Is that the only tattoo you have?
I have a tattoo on my leg.
You do?
What is it?
Yeah. You know what it is.
What is it?
Oh, I can't see it.
Are you serious? No. You don't know about my tattoo?
Well, I knew you had one, but didn't know
I have
what it
an
was.
I have an apple pie tattoo.
An apple pie, why?
You like apple pie?
Oh, is it a bad joke?
No, okay. I'll give you the quick and dirty.
It's dirty.
So, no, it's not dirty at all. It's actually kind of heavy.
Oh.
So, my senior year in high school, I wanted to give a speech at graduation.
Okay.
I graduated last in my class. I'm not exaggerating. Maybe
Really?
like
Very, very last?
maybe like 120 out of 125. I'm serious.
How did you know that?
They
tell you.
They tell you.
You didn't get your ranking when you graduated?
I told.
Don't remember.
So I mean, you guys,
Probably wasn't up there.
you know me pretty good. I have a lot to say. I'm opinionated. I'm strong on things I feel about, and I went to the lady that I was supposed to talk to about giving a speech at graduation. She laughed at me.
She laughed at
She
you.
laughed at me. I said, I won't say her name.
Yeah, because I know her.
I think she's passed. Anyways,
That's all right.
hey,
Go ahead and say it. She's not listening.
I want to.
Yeah, it's
I want to
fine.
give a speech to graduation. She laughed. She goes, oh, "I'd love to hear what you have to say, Nick." Wow. So I'm like, all right. So I really got invested and probably took notes over. Anytime I give any sort of speech now, it like a school board speech or anything, it takes me weeks because I get one thought at a time. One thought at a time. I'm like literally, I'll fill a page up one line at a time.
No.
That's how slow. Like it's it's emotionally like it's exhausting.
Wow.
Like that's when they asked me to be worship leader. It's like, 'cause it takes me like
Think on it.
because if I want to do it and feel good about it and glorify God, it takes time, and that's the way it should. It needs to hurt, right? I mean, it needs to be hard. It needs to hurt. You got to get out of the zone.
Okay.
So I gave this speech, and it was called Apple Pie, and it's basically a metaphor of like.
So you actually got to do the speech?
I gave a speech at graduation.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
And so the speech was titled Apple Pie, and it was my opinion. I graduate 19 years old. So it was my opinion of, what a 19-year-old thinks, what it takes to be happy in life. And like, So an apple pie needs good ingredients. It needs good apples. So the apples being good attributes, like having a good attitude, not being a butthead, just love everybody kind of stuff. And that's
wow.
Yeah. But it's
Look
funny
at you,
because
Mr.
people are like apple pie, like, my wife's like covered up. I'm like, it really is a good story. I have the speech on the wall in my shop. Like you read through it, like it's good.
Do you really still have it?
It's one year for my birthday or something. My wife wrote it out and framed it. Oh. And it's hanging in the wall.
Did your mom help you write it?
No, I think my girlfriend at the time. We spent a lot of time together, and of course, I'm surely an English teacher helped edit it and stuff. But wow. I mean, I gave a little Jesus testimony in there, talking about giving my life to Christ. Like,
wow, they let you? I guess in that day,
like,
they probably would.
Even if they wouldn't let me, you think I'm gonna?
Hey, yeah. There was this girl that just graduated high school, and they read her speech before, and they had told her not to say Jesus. So at the end, she did it.
What?
Yeah,
this
this just happened
around here.
Well, I don't know around here. It was going around on social media.
Oh, so somewhere in the world this happened.
She was like, they told me not to say it, but I'm standing here not denying Jesus Christ, and it was just like chills type of a moment.
So we want to argue and quarrel a lot about like righteous living stuff. You know, tattoos, smoking, drinking, drugs, like how we dress, how we this, how we that. I would say that's where most of the quarreling within the Christian community comes from.
Yeah, like gays and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like gays what?
Like
is it
like
wrong?
Gays.
Is it right?
Some people think it's right.
Do they go to heaven? Do they this, they that? You know, that's.
Are you going to answer that?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
What's your part?
Well, the biblical is
We're already an hour.
I know what the biblical says.
Right.
What does the biblical say?
It says that
you know what it says.
No, right.
What does it say?
It says it's not right. A man should be with a woman.
Right.
No, right.
So
that's all I have to say.
No, it says homosexuality is a sin. Right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right?
So how could you take stuff like that out of context if it literally says that?
What does it literally say?
What you just said?
What?
Homosexuality is a sin? Why could I not say that?
No, I'm saying but so you guys are saying they don't go to heaven because.
Whoa, nobody said that.
Yeah, you're putting words.
I just said that could potentially be. Yeah. That I mean, that's a hot topic.
But that is what makes it hot. I mean, the only reason that this is a hot topic is because people don't want to address the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So the elephant in the room is somebody who is a homosexual with a homosexual lifestyle. Are they going to heaven or are they going to hell? Right. That's what makes it controversial. Yeah.
Right.
Because again, it's like.
Well, and we can't be. We can. I can only tell somebody what the Bible says. I can't tell them where they're going to spend eternity, but I will tell you what the Bible says, and I'm going to love you through it. It'd be nice to get to the point where we can disagree with somebody, but they still feel our love. Like,
yes,
I love you, dude, but I disagree with you. And in our society, like those two don't really go together.
Well, it's got worse because of politics.
Well, so if you disagree with somebody, you automatically hate them. So.
Well, and I think we went through this with COVID, right? So like in the whole COVID debate of whether we should stay open or not stay open, I mean, I heard it from everybody. And I just said, here's the deal. Because when I made the decision, it hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, here's the deal. Don't take this personal. Like, this isn't personal. We can debate this. You can have your opinion. I still love you. So don't be upset because I make this decision because it's not something personal. I'm making a leadership decision to do something. And so we can agree to disagree, but God has me in the position of leadership right now, so I'm going to make the decision.
That's the problem, though. Everybody is making it personal.
Yeah, but why, though? I mean, I guess that's what we're coming back to.
Because they turned it into, well, you don't love people. You don't care about people. If you cared about those people, you'd make them stay home. That's the narrative that somebody that feels the opposite of you do. That's the narrative they push.
Well, but don't you think part of the reason, and this is what we maybe should get to, is that people feel like if you don't listen to what they say, they're not heard. Like back to this quarreling piece. It's like we can agree at the end to disagree on it all because they think like winning a fight, like when you're disagreeing with somebody, they think winning is that now you have my point of view, right? I mean, isn't that part of what we're saying? I mean, don't you think, Chad? Like, the idea is like if you're arguing with somebody, part of your argument is to say you need to have my point of view.
Yeah.
You want them to have your point of view.
Yeah, that's why you're arguing.
Right, but that's the point is, so are we arguing from the standpoint of changing somebody's mind, or are we trying to debate to understand somebody's perspective?
Change their mind. But we should be understanding their perspective.
Right, because I think that's where James is trying to say is part of your reason that you guys fight is because it's selfish ambition.
Yeah.
Like, is it so you can selfishly be right? Like, is the issue of quarreling right and wrong? Like, is it the issue of, like, inside of the church? So we have to come up with this definitive opinion, right? And the definitive opinion is you're right and I'm wrong, or I'm wrong and you're right, and nobody's happy until somebody decides who's right and wrong.
Yeah.
What would a healthy quarrel look like?
Well, so we said, like, if you go through Discover Life here at Life Church, so one of the things that we say in the Discover Life class is, like, if you're going to stay here, you're the most popular guy. It's okay. Go ahead and answer it. Maybe it's somebody who wants to be on the podcast.
Hey,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Oh, it's quit ringing. I'll silence
Just see
it.
who it was.
Yeah, to make sure it's not an emergency.
Yeah.
It's not. Okay. Well, your mother-in-law and somebody else called.
No, it's not like my okay.
It's not desperate.
Hired hand or
No.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, so, like, this is how we try to handle the quarreling piece of it, you know, so we don't have as much of it, is we have what's called the essentials and the non-essentials. And so we say, like, here's the essentials, biblical salvation things that we're all going to have to agree on. Like, and so we list it out. So what do you think about the Bible? What do you think about Jesus, the Holy Spirit? So these are the essentials of faith that we are, like, these are the rocks we're going to die on. And we are going to argue, for the sake of a better term, to not to be right, to be saying, like, this is the truth. Like, so you're not going to sway our opinion on what we think about the Bible, what we think about Jesus, what we think about the Holy Spirit. Then we lay out, but here are all the non-essentials. So here's the things we will never argue about at Life Church. So when we give these examples of saying, like, so if you choose to drink and I choose not to drink, have your own opinion, but keep it to yourself. If you choose to get a tattoo, not to get a tattoo, you can have your own opinion, keep it to yourself, because it's a non-essential to salvation. So you can have it, and if you choose to smoke and another person doesn't smoke, keep your opinion to yourself. If you choose to chew and another person doesn't, keep your opinion to yourself, because it's non-essential. So we feel like it cuts the quarreling down to things that really matter, you know, and we would think these are things that are worth fighting over, right? Like, we think that if somebody's going to question whether the Bible is absolute truth, we're going to, it's not even considered quarreling, it's like speaking truth. So we look at it as to say, our responsibility is when it's something that's questioning truth, we should have a debate, and it's not my opinion. Right? This isn't my opinion.
Right.
This is the truth of Scripture.
Right.
So this isn't Mike's opinion on anything. The truth of Scripture says Jesus Christ died for all sins, past, present, and future.
Yep.
I believe in the absolute truth, and so I will debate to the end of the day, and you will not sway my opinion. You know, and I'll do it in love. I'm going to try you to see the perspective where it's coming from, you know, or this is what we think about the Bible. Like, we think the Bible is absolute truth. And so because of that, you know, we're going to go down there. But if you want to have an argument with me about whether I should or shouldn't get a tattoo, I'll debate all day long. And I love it. Well, because I really want one. We've had this discussion.
Do you?
Let's go.
Huh?
Let's go after this.
Yeah, we should do it on the podcast.
Chad, do you have a tattoo?
I already told him I'd give him one, like a prison
No,
one.
You could put one on me.
I got
and
mine
it'd
in
not
jail.
even be what I wanted.
Would you ever get one?
My wife's talked about wanting to have one. I've always said, why would you want to do that to your body? But lots of times I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. It
Right.
doesn't make me any difference.
Right, but you know, like, that's what Nick was saying, is like some people would say, like, when I would preach overseas, like, if you had a tattoo, you could not preach or you had to cover it up.
Really?
Really?
So, like, when I was in Guatemala and India, like, people that came on the trips with us that had tattoos, they had to cover them up because it was such a legal,
Wow.
like, they have this legalistic environment where they fight over things that don't matter. Like, why does it matter that guy has a tattoo?
Yeah.
But for them, it's like disrespecting, you know, your body, you know, so it's a big deal in some other cultures. But so, Nick, you only have one. Jenny, how many do you
I
have?
have two. I have a ring. I have my ring finger.
I just have one.
You only have one?
Yeah, the one I got in jail.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
That's
yeah, but
the only
those
one.
would be the other things. And I think that's what we were talking about is, so when James is saying you're quarreling over truth is not really quarreling, right?
Right.
So if the truth being, this is what Scripture says, we're not quarreling over it. We're just helping you see truth. So when somebody speaks against truth, right? So if somebody says inside of there, somebody gets open up their Bible and says like, this is what I'm preaching from, but it's not really what they're preaching from, you know, or they misinterpret. Isn't that what you were saying, Nick? Like it's a misinterpretation.
Yeah.
You know, but if the truth says this, then again, at the end of the day, we should go by what it says.
Right.
Right. And we'll talk about that, or we'll have discussions about that. You know, or like as an example, the role in marriage. Like that becomes a big quarreling thing inside of the church. Right? God designed women for a thing, and God designed men for a thing. Like it's a certain piece. And people quarrel about it because it's old fashioned. But it's truth, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if Scripture says it, it's true. So it's not, why would we quarrel about it? If we're saying this is true, it's just true.
And if the husbands were being like they should, no woman would ever be upset when you said you should submit to your husband. Because if your husband was truly acting how he is supposed to, the other woman wouldn't have any, that term wouldn't be offensive.
Jenny, would you have a problem with that?
No.
Wouldn't you really? See, Miss Independence over there, I would have thought if anybody's going to have an issue inside of her marriage submitting to her husband, I would have thought.
But that means
No,
he
but
would,
he would respect me.
right.
From
He would be
It would be healthy.
He would be treating her like Christ loves the church.
Right.
I mean, and it would just be all.
I need to be told to shut up sometimes. So.
No, but you know, like her generation, that's very much not accepted.
Yeah, you know, when you got some guy that's jerk and smacking her around, and you know, the church is like, well, the women need to submit, and it's like, well, this guy's an a-hole.
Yeah, no, right. But I'm saying in good situations, like good situations where it's brought up when I'm doing marriage counseling for young people, and I'm saying like, this is the design of marriage, and this is what you're supposed to do. I can't tell you how many of the men say, well, I don't want to be a leader, and how many of the women say, I'm not submitting.
Wow.
Really?
And these are people that grew up in the church.
Wow.
Right? Like, how do you get
It's
to that
definitely
point?
society.
Yeah, why is it that way?
Society.
And, I mean, is the church talking about it? Like, that's what we were trying to
Right.
talk about last night. Because here's something that's established. If you preach the truth of the gospel, you will be hated,
Yes.
right? So you're going to be at war with the world. But then James also says, but if you're going to be friends with the world, you're going to be enemies with God.
Right.
And I just wonder how many people have thought about that. Like, have you ever thought about that? Like, if you're friends with the world, God's going to oppose you.
Yeah, it's scary.
You have?
It's scary. Yeah.
Of you being opposed by God?
Yeah.
Like, what would you, I mean, again, process that. Like, what did it mean if God opposes you?
I mean, it's
If
scary.
you're going to tell somebody, this is what it means when God's opposing you.
Well, beside that, and I'll comment on that too, but like, it's sad that to think that people are preaching and leading people astray when that is the truth. Like,
Right.
he is going to not be, or he's not, whatever, he's going to oppose you if you are friends with the world, and that's what all that they're learning. Like, that's scary.
Right.
To think that. Like, they're being, I don't know, that part just really messes with me. But I think, I mean, it's him not loving, I mean, no, because he always loves me, but
yeah, I mean, Chad, have you thought about that at all? Like, what does it look like when God opposes people? You know, or Nick, like either one of you guys, like, what does it mean when he talks? Because he talks very frankly, like, if you're a friend with the world, I will oppose you.
I've never thought much about it. I mean, I've kind of always been on the team, so
What's that mean? You don't have, you never thought of God opposing you?
I can't say I have.
I mean, on the day of judgment.
No,
I feel
because
like
he's
that
the
would
God of
come up.
love, dude. Like, why? I mean, right? Like, that's it's like he's the God of love and forgiveness. Why would he ever put you in a position like that? You know?
Oh man, I think about it all the time.
Like
You
he
do?
would, like
Yeah.
on Judgment Day. Is
No,
that
not
like,
on Judgment Day.
No,
on my
just
life here on
always?
this earth. When I make decisions to be friends with the world, I position myself for God to oppose me.
Right? Is he going to oppose you now?
Yeah,
or,
for sure.
Like,
I
in
think
what ways?
meaning allowing things to happen in my life that will get me back on track.
Oh, okay.
Like that's the opposition. Like because everything's filtered through the hand of God, right? Like so the things that are filtered through the hand of God is essentially will he allow certain things to happen to get me back to being humble again, right? Because as he says that he that he wants us to be humble, right? That he wants us to be in a humble spot. So if you're not and you're proud or you're living in this other place, then we're not in the place we need to be. So I think about that. Like when I make a decision in my life, I make decisions based upon my fear of the Lord. Like I fear being opposed by God. Like I would much rather have Nick hate me or have Chad hate me than I would be to be against God. That's why when we talk about making these decisions at church or making these decisions on Sunday morning, like I want to be on God's side. Like Nick can hate me for the rest of his life, but Nick's not judging me.
Right.
And Nick's not in control of my life. Right? But do you think that's why
I don't think we think of that.
Huh?
We don't think of that.
Why,
As a majority, I think because a lot of people haven't heard that. Because we're not being taught that. I haven't really heard that in all the churches that I've been to. And we all know that it's been a lot.
But how does that affect people? So let's talk about that because we're getting to the end. But let's talk about this idea of like, if you're trying to help people understand, quarreling, again, from the perspective of it causes us to lose purpose. Like we've all said, like part of the problem with fighting is that you fight and then you lose your purpose because your purpose on this earth is to reach people.
Right.
You're still here and you still have breath to reach people. So if you're fighting over something that doesn't matter, like you can argue all day long about whether somebody does or doesn't have a tattoo or whether somebody is or isn't, whatever. But if you're not giving them Jesus, why does it matter? Right? So it talks about that part of it. And then he just says, if you're going to choose to be friends with the world, which is this idea of doing worldly things and not doing what God calls us to do, which, you know, standing on what truth is that God's going to oppose you, but if you stick with him, he's going to, you know, and you're humble, then he's going to be with you. So if you were talking to somebody out there that struggles with that mindset, you know, or struggles with that concept of, like, how do we stay on purpose and how do we not get caught up in arguments that don't matter? But how do we still stand on truth? Because I think that's what both of you guys were saying. You still need to stand on truth.
Right.
And you still need to preach truth because otherwise you are not going to be on the side of God.
That's correct.
Right? So you're not going to be there. So you better figure out. So if you're going to give advice to the audience, we won't start with Jenny because Jenny's always like, can you please move on because I don't know. We'll start with Nick.
You've learned.
Nick, who's going to be the preacher, next preacher.
Yep, there you go.
Right? So, Nick, give advice to a culture where we have to stand on truth and remember it's not quarreling. Because if you're not going to stand on truth, you're friends with the world. Right? And then how do we navigate that whole stand on truth, still give people Jesus, still live on purpose, and create those environments? If you're going to give advice, what would you give?
Well, yeah, I said last night, and you mentioned today, it's worth arguing when it comes to the, you know, the foundations of the Bible, but you know, any other sort of, you know, righteous living acts we can just let slide. And I've got some people in my life, some neighbors, you know, I'm real close with, and you know, they're on Team Jesus. You know, we at least that's the only thing we have in common. And we've walked away from a lot of conversations. And, you know, we still love each other, and it feels good.
Right.
You know, it feels good to know that the only thing that we agree on is Jesus. But Dave, he knows just where to poke to get me excited.
Yeah, he knows how to get you going.
He'll bring up some sort of COVID thing or some political thing, and he knows just where to get me.
Too soon for that.
Yeah. And but you know, Dave knows I love him, and you know, I obviously love Dave, but man, there's a lot of other people in my life that, you know, maybe we don't talk anymore because you know, we did have a disagreement, and you know, maybe I should revisit some of those, but so I need to be better about when I do disagree with somebody, I need to be better about understanding.
Like seeing their perspective.
Yes. So I've recently had a you know, a disagreement with a loved one, and it, you know, and it, you know, it was biblical, and you know, immediately I just fly off the radar. But you know, next time I'm just, you know, you explain it to me. I'll listen. I need to be better at listening in a lot of areas of my life, especially this. Yeah. But here I am. Help me understand, and we'll just, you know, I'll love you through it, and we'll just go from there. So,
because again, I can't quote this verbatim, but what is it? Quick to listen, slow to speak.
Something anger.
Something anger.
Yeah,
but the point is, that's just what you're saying.
That's the marriage thing.
Yeah.
Right? Corinthians.
Yeah. I mean, it should be that we should be quick to listen, slow to speak,
yes.
and then obviously anger should not get in.
Man, we had a lot of good back and forth at men's group.
Slow to speak.
Oh, she wrote it down.
I do have it written down.
Nice.
What is it?
Is that part of your plan?
No.
What is it?
Whole different book.
What did it say?
Quick to listen, slow to speak.
That's good.
But I don't have the anger.
That's good. But we're all real good about flying off the radar. And we had a lot of good back and forth at men's group last night. And I even had some guys calling me out about some things, which was great.
Nick,
you should have done this, Nick.
Really?
Oh yeah, no. That's what's great about the environment.
Yes.
I've always said this. The one thing I love about men's group is you can just say anything to anybody, and we walk away, and we're still brothers in Christ.
But but I think that group is, everybody's a lot alike. So,
meaning you don't think there's as many disagreements in it?
Yeah.
Well, we started getting a little political, there at the end. It's like, everybody's like, yep, you're darn right. It's like, whoa.
Yeah,
not that we should. I think it's important that, the church, whatever. That's all. We're not going there, but.
Going where?
Politics.
Politics.
I mean,
politics.
I think the church should be someone involved. But anyways, that's another day. But
Chad, I want to go off what you said, because I think the longer that you're together as a group, and the more that people share truly where they're at, the more that you're going to disagree from a certain standpoint. You know what I mean? I think as our men's group grows, you're going to keep seeing that. Like, I think you're going to have people that are going to speak up, and they're going to share, and they're going to be like, Well, I mean, the one guy last night who was just called out Nick after Nick called me out was essentially just saying, maybe you should think different.
Yeah.
That's how you learn. Like, I
is.
seriously took what he said, and I was like, he's right.
No,
he's absolutely right.
That was my point. Is like we might all have like the same, like we're all farmers or businessmen, or like we all work with our hands, like that kind of thing. But I still say somewhat the ways that we view Scripture are different. But I think what's good about that group is you can walk away saying, like, these are still brothers that I could go out and work with. Like, these are still brothers I could go out. And there's stories at that men's group of people that were in business that had a terrible experience that are in that same group together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So there is reconciliation that happened,
For
through that group.
I was talking to that Henry afterwards, and he's like, well, I'm sorry for talking. I shouldn't. I'm speaking out of turn. I've never been here before. And I'm like, dude, just send it. Like, if you got something to say, please say it.
Nobody cares.
Don't worry about us.
No, yeah, that's really good.
Chad, you got any quarreling advice?
I think people in politics need to, I don't know. Can they argue and not get upset with each other? I have no idea. Our world's a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
So.
Well, does everybody need to feel like they won? No,
I agree.
When you're arguing, like I need to think about this. With your little spat we've been talking about, did you say what you said so you feel like you won? Like did you get the last word? Did that make you feel like you won?
Well, I think this is what we're trying to say, and maybe this can go with what Chad's saying is that our responsibility as a Christian is to present a case and trust the results to God. There's nothing wrong with presenting our case. The problem is when you keep trying to present your case till you win. Oh. And winning is only getting somebody else to say yes to you or vote for you. Or our responsibility is to present our platform. Like, this is who we are. This is where I stand. Whether I choose to win you over or don't win you over was never my job to begin with.
Right.
Right?
Well, I
like,
think
that's
by
God's
saying
job.
that in the first place, so this was going to be my answer.
Okay.
And I actually had an answer, and we about skipped me. Okay. So I think in the very beginning, that's what you should say. You should have like a conversation with them before the argument comes in. Like, I'm still going to love you after we can agree to disagree, and I truly mean that. But let them genuinely know that that's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
It feels so good when it happens like that.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, like there's people in my life.
Feels like family.
We argue, and we hug, and he's there the next day. And it feels good. We need more of that, but it's tough. I mean, it's easy.
Not very often.
Not very often.
Well, and I think Chad brought it up. Like, part of the problem in our world today is you can't even voice your opinion or lay out your case without somebody wanting to stab you.
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's part of the problem is you're not even allowed to lay out your case anymore. You're not even allowed to present it. You're not even allowed to have an opinion.
It can be on the dumbest stuff, too, like this golden retriever group I'm in. You say one thing wrong.
Facebook.
People, and I mean, like, thousands of people attack this person.
Isn't Facebook
Why is your
awful?
dog in a cage?
Yeah.
And they have to explain, my dog went into the cage by itself. Like, the door is open, but people are attacking him.
Yeah.
Dumbest thing.
I like when people post like a question
much
with a
drama.
picture, and then they're like poking at you about something in the background. It's like, wait a second.
Drama.
That's another reason for me to never.
Facebook's terrible. It's such a toxic place.
Yeah, you can
Okay,
go
so end
anywhere.
us up, Jenny. Last segment, fan section.
Yes, fan segment. So last 2 weeks
Nick
ago.
had to wake back up because we're an hour and a half into it. So
Holy
waking
crap.
back up.
Okay, so 2 weeks ago we did something, send us a picture from the holidays. So your favorite moment from Christmas.
So
the
here's what's going to be
holidays.
fun. Who's commentating for Chad?
There we go.
Yes. So
You wanted to be the
So
commentator.
does Jenny.
I know, I want
Jenny,
to.
here we go. You're going to commentate the
Because
pictures.
I know them, the
Yeah, so
pictures.
Jenny, commentate the
Okay,
pictures. Because
okay.
you got to vote on them, Chad.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I'm a really good commentator.
All right.
Yeah, so here we go. You better
I'm
be.
really good with details.
Okay, so the first picture
right.
is.
Well, okay. Crap.
That's not a very good commentator.
Do you got the picture that Chad got
I
right
think
now?
it's very good. Okay, so this is a picture of a family, and there's two. What?
Nick's cheesing out over there.
There is a mom and a dad and two children, and they are wearing matching pajamas that say "chilling together," and there's penguins on there.
And they have a blue
It's a pun.
a blue Christmas tree.
Ooh.
A blue Christmas tree, huh?
Blue
Blue
Christmas tree.
Like the thing's blue.
Yeah,
and then
they're
the
lights
kids are given the
blue.
cheesy smile.
Chad, here's what I see. The guy's like, hurry up, take the picture. These pants are hot.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this?
Yeah,
I gotta pee.
Yep.
We crowd them all together. Now let's get the picture over with.
Heck
Yeah.
no. Matching pajamas.
Amanda.
Amanda McRedmond.
Okay.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you,
Okay,
Amanda.
what's next?
I like the blue Christmas tree.
I like the chilling together.
Ooh.
Okay, this is 4 teachers, and they're standing in a row, and they're wearing ugly Christmas sweaters. And the first one has Mickey. Is that Mickey or
Are you
Minnie?
calling Mickey ugly? Oh,
Mickey Mouse.
That's Mickey Mouse
Mickey
is
Mouse.
ugly. Wait, but it,
I
hers
didn't
is
say the
cool.
ugly, that's
You
the-
did say the ugly Christmas sweaters.
Because that's what they're called. They had an ugly Christmas sweater party that day at school. So they're all dressed up, and they have hats on, and they're standing in the hall. Wait, no, was it work or school? I think it was work. School?
The funny thing is, the ones that are lit up are awesome.
Yeah, they
like
are.
If I would actually wear. When
hers
we were
is lit up in the
skiing, we
front.
wore lights.
Oh, really? Yeah.
whenever
Oh,
we were
that's
skiing.
smart.
Yeah, so Christmas lights. When you ski at night,
Ooh.
like you wear, and they all have hats that light
Yeah.
up. And
That'd be fun. Night skiing.
yeah. And are you going to finish describing the picture?
Nice.
I think I did.
Oh, okay.
That was a good one.
Good.
This is the one
Okay, the
Chad's
next
going to
one.
vote for.
All right.
Well, there's a glare on it. Okay, so it's a
You
family.
can look at that one.
Oh,
It's a what?
it's a. Oh my gosh, they have a dog. That's what I say when I'm out in public. I get distracted. So it looks like a golden doodle. He's a puppy. He looks
I don't think
really
it's a
cute.
golden doodle.
Oh yes, it is.
No, I think it's an Australian Shepherd.
No,
doodle.
it's not.
No, I think it is.
No, it's not.
I'm
Do
pretty
you know
sure
the
it
dog
is.
So
personally?
I picture it. We have a mutt.
No.
No, I'm just teasing.
$1 billion mutt.
But it's 2 girls, and they're dressed. They look like they just had Christmas because they're dressed fancy.
She's smoking
Just
hot.
said what?
And
Yeah.
who?
The
That
girl.
gal.
dog
Your
or-
family.
That's
Oh.
Nick's wife and kids.
Is it a golden doodle?
It's an Aussie doodle. Mike wins.
Whatever.
Oh.
The girls got a puppy for Christmas.
Yes,
And
an
this was a
Aussie
big
doodle.
deal.
Really?
Like
Why?
years of saying no. Because
Good.
our dog died a few years ago. We're never getting a dog. Never
why
getting
you
a
should
dog.
get
I
another
make
dog.
fun of people with doodle dogs.
And then he got a doodle dog.
And then I wrote a $1 bajillion check, and I
that's
surprised him on Christmas Eve. It was epic.
This
They were
Christmas?
excited.
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
Yeah,
he's a
because you
puppy.
bought it this summer, right?
Well, I bought it this fall. Yeah, I
okay,
just signed a contract.
He
and
is
everything.
so cute.
Sign a contract.
It was
That
a-
he would pay.
It was a racket.
Yeah.
Racket.
Probably had to give $500
Buddy.
on the spot.
His
Buddy
name's
the dog.
Buddy, that's his name.
His name's Buddy.
Buddy.
To be real honest,
my
my
wife
son's
is a
like,
goober.
why'd they name the dog Buddy? They should have named it Gilbert. I'm like,
Gilbert, that's a good name. Okay, next picture. They are at the Christmas lights downtown in Huntington, or wherever it's at.
Huntington has Christmas
Sunken
lights?
Oh
Gardens?
yeah, down at the Sunken Gardens.
Oh, I didn't
That's
know
nice.
I don't know if they're there. I don't know if that's it, but they are standing in front of a wreath that is lit up, and it is 2 children average age.
Are you
So-
sure they're
It's
children?
just okay.
Yeah.
Nick, are they kids?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Matt Wilson's kid.
Is it really?
That's Aiden and Jenna. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Junior, sophomore.
So brother and sister.
Thank you, Aiden and Jenna.
Yep. And there's snow on the ground. Next picture.
Snow on the
is-
ground? We haven't had any
I don't even
snow.
know how to describe
Must
that.
have been an old picture.
What the heck are you wearing, man?
Who is it?
I don't know.
Is that Nick?
I can't see. It looks like a.
Who is that?
It's a younger boy.
Person's dressed like an elf.
Find this photo.
I didn't.
She just randomly
I
pulled it off
don't
the
think-
internet. It's
I
not
can
anybody.
send that one to you.
Oh, did somebody send that in?
He's got a Christmas hat out of wrapping paper and a wrapping paper vest.
And bow
He
on
looks
his
like
face.
And a bow on his
Christmas
nose.
wrapping paper Superman.
He looks
Okay,
like a
well, we
goober.
can't vote for that person because nobody even knows who it is.
Let me do some research.
The
Okay,
mystery.
what's the next one?
'Cause I don't remember seeing that.
The last one is this one.
Oh, so it's
Taylor.
Taylor, and he's standing in front of our Santa or our Christmas selfie station that we did on
What's the
Eve
selfie
Eve.
station even look like?
That can
Okay.
I explain it?
Do you know anything about this church?
So it's got a white backdrop. It's got 2 Christmas trees that look just like pine because there's really not any lights on there. And then it's got a nice little garland just hanging across it. And it's just really beautiful. And anyways, she is, I don't know what I'm saying. Just
Yeah, I was gonna say, Chad's looking at you like the commentary is just like the basketball game. I'm getting nothing.
know.
Chad's just shaking his head like I'm getting nothing out of this.
I'm gonna have to ask Siri what the score is.
That's it.
Okay, Jenny. So who are we voting?
It's a family.
What are we voting for? Nick, you got to vote.
I feel
Like
there's
if I
more
don't
than
vote
that.
for you, like you're gonna be really mad at me, right?
I am not. No, you're fine.
No, you.
He already won.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Don't vote for me.
Oh, you already won.
I'm gonna vote for Scott and his kids, or just Scott's kids, I guess.
Okay. Are you voting, Jenny? What
Yeah,
are
I'm
you looking at?
thinking.
Huh?
Well, I thought there was more than that. Did not all of
That's
them.
all you sent me.
Way to go, Jenny.
That's all I got.
Okay, well, get a vote.
On the
Get a
no,
vote.
I sent a bunch on the
It doesn't matter
phone.
now. We're at the end, Jenny.
Okay.
Vote. Do you need to run through them again? Because you forget every one of them.
No, I like the matching pajamas.
That's the one I was gonna vote for.
Really?
With the blue Christmas tree.
Yep, blue Christmas tree / matching
I love blue
pajamas.
Christmas trees.
That was Jessica. Amanda, so close.
Okay. Nick,
That's
who are you
your
voting
vote,
for?
Chad. The
That's my
matching.
vote.
I am also voting for the matching family because I know that guy put a fight up.
I woulda.
He is a good boy.
Yeah,
woulda.
he did what he was
He's a good
told.
boy.
I
He
guess
couldn't
we're
get
all
those
gonna-
pants
yeah,
off
we'll
fast
all go
enough.
with that one.
Good husband.
Yeah, we'll all go with that one. Okay.
Yep. So Amanda, I will be reaching out to you
Yeah, and you're
for
gonna
your
get
$10 gift card
you're
for
gonna get a
Cafe of
$10
Hope.
gift card.
Yep.
Awesome.
And next week, so the theme for next week is to send in either a picture or your goals or whatever you call them to make yourself feel better.
So it would be a picture of you.
So it'd be for me, for an example.
It'd be
since I
you
said
reading
I
a
would
book.
Read, yes.
So you would give the goal. My
Yes.
goal is to read one
Right.
book a quarter.
And then I would be like this.
yeah, and then you would have that
Take a
book
picture
up
yourself.
showing you.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if Nick's goal was to pump X amount of gallons of manure, he'd have
Oh,
him
that
on a
sounds
manure
great, yeah.
wagon. Yeah.
That was his goal, wasn't it? So we're gonna see a picture of that.
I had a record year, so
There you go. Got to put
There you
something
go.
else out there.
Do you get used to that smell?
yes. But when it comes to like dog poop, I'm out.
Really? Why
Like-
is there a different? You can.
There just
you-
is like
If I
like
gave you different poops and you just smelled them, would you know the difference?
so,
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I
do-
could do that,
Dog
yeah.
poop just sends me over the edge.
really?
Cat
You know
poop.
why?
Cat poop,
Cat
cat
poop.
pee.
You want to know why? It's because of their anal glands.
Oh my word.
Because they mark the
We're
territory.
not getting into this. What's next week?
You gotta express
I
it.
already told them.
No, I know, but how do they do it?
Oh.
You got, remember?
Okay, so you can either do it the old-fashioned way and email us, or we have a
Email
phone
us at
number.
what? Email us at what?
The roundtable at lifehuntington.com.
Atta girl.
And then now we have a phone number that you can just go ahead and save it in your phone. But if you haven't saved it in your phone, you need to text podcast to 260-408-8383.
And you can send stuff into there and we'll
8383.
respond to
Yeah,
you.
so
and
anything.
get
It doesn't have to be the pictures for next week. Be comments, what you
Yeah,
loved,
anything.
what you didn't like, anything. Questions.
Right.
If you want to be on the show.
Right. Yeah, new guests.
Yes.
Yeah, for February.
No, not February.
I thought we had January done already.
Oh, it will be like April.
You're not doing one till April?
No. I have them lined up till April.
Oh.
Wow.
Yep.
Jenny's ahead.
You do
I
one
told you
every
I'm a new person.
No, I know. Good for you.
Actually, I did that last year, but
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, good. Chad and Nick, thank you guys for
Thank
joining
you.
us. It's been a great time to get together, and we really appreciate your time. Thanks everybody that listened, or to the guys that are joining us by watching. So again, just a reminder, we'd love for you to share this. So Jenny puts stuff out via Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, share this with other people so it can get on other people's timelines and they can see what we're doing. Again, or favor or like, the podcast so that we can keep, getting it out there. Send us comments, give us feedback. We'd love to continue to get better. So thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll be back with you again next week.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.